Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Stargazers monthly Zoom call. Tonight, I have a little bit of an agenda, but I also did want to have a discussion with you guys about magical malpractice and see what you think about my thoughts on this. So, first, I want to cover the coming new moon. Also, if you guys have any thoughts or comments about the previous moon, how that went for you, if there's anything that came up in your astrology that's interesting that you want us to take a look at, we can certainly do that and think about that as a group. And then I also want to cover the full moon after that, and then the following new moon a little bit, and then just maybe talk about medical or magical malpractice and see um, if we can identify it and perhaps either protect ourselves or our patrons, clients, and community from that. So, or maybe it's not even our role to do that. So we'll see. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. We have Christine, Heidi, Alora, and Lori, and Lorna just dropped in. Hello, Lorna. Welcome. Does anybody have any like stories from this past moon? Any revelations from the lunation? Or anything kind of open up for you? An understanding? Christine, I know you emailed me. You're kind of like our soap opera for this group right now. So you want to update us on your story?
Well, fortunately, the immense chaos that I went through in January and February has calmed down for now. Um, can I relate it to the sky? I don't know. I'm just trying to get through my days. But yeah, and then after listening to your new moon forecast and my Leo rising, um, one and then with Mercury going direct, one thing I want to address sounds like it's going to be perfect timing, which I noted to you. And then the other one was, something that's been is on my radar, and I'm not sure because I haven't been able to study where in the chart would I find something that is relational to mother energy.
Mother
And
energy? Yeah. Okay.
what I asked you in my email, that's what I was, wondering, not only with my Saturn return in Pisces in the eighth house, but then it's also being related to mother energy. And I was wondering if there's something in the chart that you can see from that, because I'm
Right.
not.
Like the fourth house. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we could see something. Let me grab your chart. What else about so you said Mercury retrograde was significant.
Well, I'm just waiting. Like when he first went retrograde, not only myself, but other people I knew, like it was just like, oh my goodness, it's like
Yeah.
anything that could go wrong. Well, I won't say anything, but leaky pipes and something, electronically, and it was just like literally, I I gave my partner because I figured, well, this shouldn't be too dangerous. I gave him one set of our truck keys because he's home now. He wants to charge the battery in the truck, and he literally misplaced the keys. The day Mercury, I think either the day of or the day after Mercury went retrograde. And granted, yeah, his mind is not great, but it had a big red thing attached to it that I figured, oh, it's not going to be hard to please.
That'll teach you. Let me share the screen. We'll look. Because when I have your chart in the middle, and then when Mercury went retrograde, he had just dipped his toes into Pisces and was leading this whole pack of personal planets, right? So it was Mercury, Venus, Sun, and Mars. So basically the mind, the intuition or the sensation, the expression, and the action. So that's kind of the order of things when they're revealed to us. And I remember this because I definitely had some, like, I always get like crazy, wild, vivid dreams whenever Mercury enters Pisces. And then Mercury went retrograde on the 25th of February and went backwards through Pisces and switched directions with Venus. So now all of our minds are not only like not leading the charge anymore, but now it's going backwards. Like thoughts are just random. They're weird. They're funny. Um, they're angry. The anger came a little bit later, after we passed the sun on the 7th, and we, started coming into Mars over here. You probably want to be thinking about your fourth house though, with mother energy, because that's typically what we associate mother with. Also, Cancer can be mother energy. So lunar energy, the moon, your fourth house. Um, I don't know. Is there something about your mom and timing that you're questioning?
Right. And as I mentioned in the email, has to do something related to, let's put it this way, other people's money.
Right. Inheritance, legacy, things like that. Well, it's interesting that the sun is approaching the your own Lilith and Saturn. Okay, in your eighth house, your sun just entered your eighth house, and the current transiting Lilith is in your fourth house. You see that? So that is a connected energy, and I guess you can sort of watch when the moon could either hit. It could either start with this lunar cycle because it's eighth house, right? So for the new moon, I'm glad we're in the new moon, so we can just use your chart to ease us right in. That's what we did last time, I think. um, but here's the new moon, right? And that's right over that Saturn and Black Moon Lilith. And this lunar cycle is about eighth and second house energy for you, right? You can see how that's possible. So you may be able to have the conversations that you need to have. This would be a great month to deal with that specific situation for sure. And I think by the time you get to your full moon, like there'll be something practical that comes out of it, and that's around the 1st of April. And then of course, how it relates to your mother might become apparent on the 2 days it's in your fourth house, which is April 5th and 6th. So that might help you with timing. Mercury will be direct by then. So Mercury's going direct on the 20th of March. You'll even be out of the shadow period, a little bit, almost out of the shadow period. I think maybe when Mercury enters your eighth house again, that's probably the time right there. So sometime in that week. Does that make sense?
Okay. Because I've got two things going on. Something I want to present to my partner and something with my mom, with my
Yeah,
mom.
that makes sense. Yeah. And Mercury is great with duality, and Jupiter is in Mercury's sign, which is in your 11th house, which is like in-laws and distant relatives and all that goes. Yeah, you're perfectly aligned.
So
Especially Jupiter in a trine to your natal Mercury.
I'm best to wait until the beginning of like second week of April at this point.
I would say energetically that aligns best with what you're thinking about. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're totally welcome. And that, my friends, is a practical use of astrology. So thank you for being our guinea pig, Christine. Appreciate you. All right, so let's get to this next new moon because this one's a humdinger. And the funny story is I was literally starting to work out the astrology. I had the chart in front of me. I kept flipping through the days. I was trying to get all the daily energy like I do when I prepare for the next coming new moon. I realized about a week in, I'm like, damn, I'm looking at April's moon because everything looked different. And I'm like, what is going? Are things going to shift that fast? And then I realized I was looking at the wrong month. So I said, all right, well, I did all that. There must be a reason for it. And this new moon next month will be right over Chiron, which is pretty intense. Although nothing touches Chiron during this moon. So what came to me, I was like, well, okay, this moon must be getting us ready for that encounter with Chiron. So I had all these different names for the moon. And then when it became linked with the following moon, I was like, okay, it's a magician and an adept. Like it's like you're leveling up, you're graduating, you're learning the skills in this month, and then next month you get to use them. So it's very interesting how that energy all plays out. And what's so significant about this month is its conjunction to Saturn and Neptune. So this whole, that whole beautiful Pluto Uranus trine and then the sextile back to each one of those. This has been a long-standing formation. It's been like the outer planets, the OGs, the spiritual archons are literally like cheering us on, holding space for us, and now we get to meet them face to face. And I've always felt like the energy of Neptune was, anything's possible, everything's possible, sky's the limit, right? And then Saturn is sort of the limitation, the expectation, the timing, the real world energy. And when you put them together, it's almost like you have something to grab onto in the mist. And with sun and moon there, we get to test the true authentic flavor of that. Like, is what I'm grabbing onto like real? Is it aligned with who I am? And a lot of this comes from knowing yourself, right? Excuse me, the trine back or the sextile back to Pluto just continues that deep excavation, that inner excavation, because now the sun and the moon are making contact with it in that way. So a doorway is opening for us to really dig deep, excavate, like find the gold within us, and Christine, you're lovely for sharing because we're seeing that with you. Like you're digging deep, you're getting into the gold, into the heart of what you can really take out of the experience that you're going through. And then you have Uranus connected to Saturn, and Sun and Moon are there now. This is like becoming the expert and changing something, changing it for the better, anchoring it in reality. This is Taurus energy. So I feel really hopeful about this moon, despite all the chaos surrounding us. I think for people that are, you know, more self-centered right now because you're doing that spiritual journey inward, this feels so much better than if we try to look at it as a chaos war making moon. I think a lot of stuff collectively is coming up. It's being tested for its authenticity. It's being tested for its truth. Illusions are trying to come at us through the use of AI. And, for those of you that are centered in your own authentic, you can tell when something isn't real. Maybe you get fooled for a minute, but after, analyzing it and using your discernment, you see that it is what it is. And so that's a beautiful gift. And it may feel painful for people that are going through a transformation or a purge right now. But in the end, it's all plutonic transits are beautifully transformational. They make you more powerful, more of a creator, more of a legacy maker. It's kind of like that deep underground wealth that sustains civilizations. That's the kind of wealth that Pluto has. And I love that they're both in earth signs because it gives us the ability to take the tangible world and let it be more malleable, like let it be a little chaotic so that the things that we want to create can break through. Allowing things to happen. There's a surrender here too with Neptune. A lot of it you kind of just have to let it happen in a way. um the real trigger for this moon for me has been this Lilith energy in a square to the lunar nodes. I think this falls differently in different houses for people, right? So for a Leo rising, it's in your fourth house, but for Taurus rising, it's in your seventh house. So the challenges, for a Taurus rising are going to be in your relationships, in your projections, are are relationships that you perceive as real. Like Lilith is going to let you know that. And the tension between the past and the future is really where the chaos can create for you. You can use it constructively. So in other words, if you have like some kind of nostalgia, or maybe you're clinging to something, or maybe you're in a space where you have to pay attention to you because you've been such a giver. Leo is the ego. It's loving the self. And so maybe when you stand in your authentic truth, it's about finally loving yourself. Lilith is going to show you that truth if you try to give too much. Whereas if you're in a different space in your journey, maybe you're fighting for a cause, maybe you're part of a movement, maybe you're in that phase of your life, and Lilith's going to ask you, is this movement really part of who you are? And if it is, great, you're going to feel very inspired, very creative, very part of something big and wonderful. But if it's not, it's going to make you feel a little bit tense, a little bit angry, a little bit mouthy. So this is very interesting. But it also trines to Venus and to the sun and moon, which is like this realization, this like aha moment where you're not going to take it anymore, really opens up healing and opens up the ability to create. And I love that. And then of course we have Venus in a square to Jupiter. This is like too much. You can overdo it, drink too much wine, eat too much food, listen to too much media, go down too many rabbit holes. Um, so it'll teach you that lesson through excess. And then Jupiter in a expansive trine to Mars. Again, this depends on like, are we reacting or responding? What are we fighting for? What are we fighting against? Where is the resistance and how do we react to it? Jupiter's just going to blow that up. And it just feels like I believe this. And so I'm right. And you're a cult leader. I literally got called a cult again yesterday on one of the comments to my last video. And normally I'd be fine with leaving the comment there, except they used the F word and they posted like 3 or 4 times. So I literally just cut them loose. Um, but yeah, it's the cult of love and light, I guess. So anyway, that's the moon for me. What do you guys see in this? Is anything jumping out for you? Is there anything that you want me to explain or something personal in your chart? I'm happy to do that with y'all. For those listening later, you can definitely leave comments, or if you think about it, just leave a comment, and I will answer you. But that's it. So yeah, just make sure you go to your rising sign if you want something really specific for you. I know for me, it's just to kind of share my story since I'm here with you guys. I'll put this moon here. Let's go to now, and we'll go to
Hey, Dr. Danny.
yeah.
Something interesting going on right now is everybody's leaving social media.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like everywhere I go, they're like, I'm deleting this platform, and somebody else is deleting some other platform, and somebody else is deleting some other platform.
Yeah, it's like a self-selection. It's almost like the reflection of the 2021 purge of social media. When a lot of people were coming out and saying like, no, this isn't true. There's all these like, that's disinformation. They were truth police out there. People were getting their accounts suspended. That was like the the initial energy, I feel like. And then this is the response, right? So there's a self-selection. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of people that were banned back then, very recently, like I think like before the end of the year, all started getting their channels back. Like all of a sudden, YouTube was letting them come back on. It's very interesting. A lot of people have moved on, right? I mean, if your channel got trashed 5 years ago, you're probably have kind of eaten that
Yeah,
humble pie. Yeah.
I've seen that, and I guess they're being censor police right now and pretty bad on YouTube.
Well, we have Mercury and North Node together in Aquarius, right? So this is authoritarian. This is Mercury retrograde could be censorship because it's what the frequencies that are coming in are so intense that especially with Mars there and actions being taken, it's a reaction. That's exactly what it is. To thought, to forward thinking. It's amazing.
I had somebody tell me the other day that, right now she's making her living doing psychic and tarot and stuff like that through her YouTube channel, which has over 100,000 subscribers. And she said the other day that YouTube was keeping 90% of what she was bringing in, and she just couldn't understand it. And I was like, well, that'd be interesting to see what was going on in her chart.
Yeah, really. Yeah, YouTube. You gotta give unto Caesar what is due to Caesar. YouTube, I don't see as something that controls me. I see it as a tool, a very useful tool, very good tool for what it's doing. Um, I find Facebook rather cumbersome and difficult. Facebook has a lot more holes that they've patched up over the years, and all of those patches have created a system where if you want to run a business through Facebook, like it's literally, I think it's run by AI. So if you do something wrong, like you can't do anything like forever. It's the weirdest shit. And then with X, it's like screaming into a void, so I still support YouTube. I enjoy the content that I perceive out there. Am I getting all the truth? Maybe not, but it entertains me, it enlightens me, and that's what I use it for. um I broadcast the astrology through it, and I'm reaching people, and I'm still growing despite the fact that people are leaving YouTube. So I think that we're just seeing a shift in that realm, and I think it has to do probably with Mercury and Aquarius. And I've heard a lot of Vedic astrologers say that like North Node in Aquarius is AI and internet. And then of course Jupiter being in Taurus, I'm sorry, Uranus being in Taurus, it's bound to bring like unexpected shifts in the physical world in terms of how we communicate. Like they may come up with some kind of invention in the near future, or some other like smaller platforms that make way more sense to the collective mind. They always start out with good intentions, and so they'll get a lot of attention. People will sign up, people will find their people will find their tribe, and time will tell which ones take off. That's exactly how YouTube and Facebook and TikTok became popular, because they were easy to use. They were easy ways to communicate your message. It's what I call an egregore. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but Vladim Zealand in Reality Transurfing talked about the egregore. And it's basically just a collection of thought forms that's extremely magnetic. And they're fine as long as you know you're working with it. Like you engage with an egregore to exchange energy. I give energy and time and potential income to YouTube because I know that it can give me a return. But there's people that get way too involved. They burn out, they spin their wheels, and they just can't. Or the algorithm isn't working with them the way they want it to, and so they have to disengage from it. And that makes complete sense to me. I think egregores should be used contractually. Like you should know what you're getting into, and what the outcome will be. Like, what are the results of that? Like, if you're going to use AI, don't let it be your best friend when you're drunk in the middle of the night. I mean, maybe it'll help you, but don't bond to it. It's just a language learning model. Maybe it can help you organize your thoughts in a way that a friend might without the attachment and the embarrassment. But like, it's not really a friend. It's not really a thing or a person. Could it be conscious? Sure, but not in the way that you and I are. So it's very interesting. We're grappling with this as humanity as a whole. Awesome point. Yeah, so this has been this will be a 10th house, 4th house lunation for me. So again, I got a lot of work and home themes going on in my life, and it's just the way it is. Like I have dealing with kind of getting 2 homes situated, and I have 2 jobs, one I do at home and one I have to go out and do. It's crazy. My life literally is the duality of the Virgo Pisces axis right now. Let's see. We're going to move into the let me go just to the now chart and move into that full moon, see where that lands for us. I think this is also a Virgo moon. Yeah. So it'll be a moon all by itself across the chart from a very packed Pisces. This same day, Venus is going to enter Aries. So that should be very interesting. We will, the current lineup of characters, the way we will experience shifts in energy, we're going to feel it first. We're going to express it second. We're going to take action, and then we're going to think about it. So because Mercury's all the way at the back of the pack, thoughts come last, which sometimes it's good, because Venus can really drive us towards our greatness in Aries with that divine inspiration that she tends to carry for us. So follow your gut feeling for most of this moon, and especially when the full moon pops up. There may be some unexpected things, with Uranus always involved in everything. Jupiter's going to square this. So again, watch the earlier square with Venus. Don't overdo it. this could be thoughts and emotions that aren't driving right here. So you definitely don't want to rely on your thoughts. That's I think the message of this coming full moon. Our thoughts may betray us in this space. That's what I think. That's why it's difficult. That's why you have to be the magician. You have to discern. You have to know what's real for you deep down in your soul, because that's what Lilith wants you to do. That's where your true power is. So that theme continues for another month, I believe. And then we finish the magician's moon, and they both land on Chiron, right at the very last degree of Pisces. The last few degrees, which is typically more intense, right? If you look at the sky, underneath of the sky here, if you look to the south, and then below this constellation is the constellation of Cetus. And Cetus is the sea monster. A lot of times there is an energy of despair. It's the very end of that hero's journey of the zodiac, right? So it's the death of death, the very end of the thing. So if any of you are feeling like you're getting to the end of your rope, this month will be the one that highlights it, I think. This is going to be in my 11th house over my natal Chiron. So I'll have Sun, Moon, Chiron over my natal Chiron. Stuff's going to come up for me. Stuff like maybe just intense wounding, or maybe I'll find out where my true power actually lies. I'm just going to put Sun and Moon together with Chiron right at the exact moment. So that's what it'll look like right there. But let's just line it up to my ascendancy. So it'll be right there in my 11th house, conjunct my natal Chiron. So like there might be some kind of, I could experience it as a betrayal from my community. I could experience this being banished, going unnoticed, perhaps. But we've worked through this over the last several years. So plus with the Chiron return. So I'm hoping that the true magical master can come out here, that the adept can show up, because now Venus is going to be in her home. She's going to be in Taurus, and Uranus is there. And imagine coming home after a long journey around the zodiac, and like Uranus has rearranged your living room a little bit. It might be a little disorienting. But because maybe if you've done the inner work, if we've done the inner work, right, we might see changes in our reality that become manifest, especially as Venus crosses into the actual ascendant area for Taurus rising. So right after the new moon, like literally within hours, we'll just move over a day. We have an Aries moon. So it's hot. It's the head. It's fire. We have to not think with our head. Look at this. Mercury and Mars are both with Neptune and Saturn. Mercury's going to switch places with Mars again. They're going to be conjunct again. So an Aries moon right off the new moon with Chiron, and Mercury and Mars are together with these guys. There might be some words. There might be some discussions. There might be some decisions, actions made. Truth's coming out for sure. Only just, and I think it's all there just to clarify for us so that we can grab onto something. And you'll know that when you see it. This should not be a surprise on April 18th. When you feel that energy, it's going to feel like a very intense day, I think. And then the moon will move through all these signs, and then we'll be in Libra in its opposition and fullness. So maybe we finally reach a harmony point. I think once we reach this full moon, everything's going to get a little bit lighter, a little bit easier after May 2nd. All the personal planets will have passed these heavy hitters. They will have passed the galactic center, Pluto, our North Node, Saturn and Neptune. And now they're each coming out in their own way, in their own order through that Pisces Aries field. They're finally coming up out of the water, out of the darkness, and into the light again. And so that's my prediction. I think we'll all sort of be like, it'll all be clear, like what we need to do. Because right now, when things come at you from 7 different directions, you don't really know what to do first. And I'm feeling that for sure. So I'm just going with my gut. Like if it feels good in my body, because that's where my magic's at with my Venus. If it feels good in my mind, if it inspires or gets a connection going for me, I follow that. And sometimes it's not linear. It doesn't make sense. Like trying to do the April moon before the March moon. But it ends up giving you a story of how this might unfold for us. So I share that with you. What do you guys think about that? Does that kind of make sense for you guys in your charts? I feel like for me, it's like winding down, like the 11th house is sort of the crowning moment of the solely lunar year. And then as it moves into the 12th house, it's more of a quiet moon. So we might have a vacation here in May. And then when the sun and Venus are in the ascendant and second house, I might, pop out with some new ideas, a new course, something. So, all right. If you guys have any thoughts? I love astrology so much. If I'm a cult leader, then so be it. This is just awesome. And I've been doing a lot of readings and getting a lot of really, really good feedback because I'm adding not just this to my readings, but I'm also doing your life path numerology and I'm doing um, your Egyptian playing cards. And then we do your astrology and then we do your tarot. So it's like, about 60 to 90 minutes. And I'm getting a lot of good feedback. People are like, wow, you really, you know, nailed it. And I've never met some of these people. Some people I have, but so it's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys keep working, keep reading, keep studying, keep trying out your skills. If anybody sees anything that maybe I didn't mention, and go back to now. We can look at today's chart. Has anyone seen Venus yet? I got to see Venus right around the 11th, 12th, 10th or 11th. Yeah, that's when I finally saw her. Oh, it was so beautiful. I was so inspired. I was so happy when she finally lit up. I was like, "Are you Saturn or are you Venus?" And then it was Venus. And this is like it's like the swelling phase of Venus, like the swelling phase of the moon, when the moon starts to after the new moon and you see that crescent moon on the western sky. That's kind of what Venus is right now. And if you could zoom in to her planetary body, you might see a crescent shape. Super interesting. All right. Go ahead, Sunny. Hey, Sunny.
Hi, Dr. Danny. Hello, everyone. I came in a little late. I was at the supermarket and I'm like, oh my God, I think the live has started. But I had a question in relation. I see the now chart, and I know that you mentioned that Chiron was standing alone in this um, uh,
New moon. Yeah,
upcoming new moon, and then next month it'll be very activated with the sun and the moon over it.
correct.
Close to it. Okay, so did I miss that? Because I'm like really interested in like hearing your thoughts on that because my Chiron return has been long gone, but I still am in this amazing like dance with him and or this being, and I really still keep thinking about that one transmission that you'd shared with us about how instead of the wounded healer, let's think of him as this being that can bring our greatness to the forefront. And
Absolutely.
just love that. That's like staying with me because I feel like I don't want to feel like I'm needing to be healing all the time. I want to like feel like part of the symptoms that like Christine was talking about, like when we see the symptoms, it's because we've gone through the healing.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of stepping into like this restored being. And I never knew much about Chiron, but once I started to learn on Chiron, he's just so, he's like he's like, Chiron is like your Venus to you. Chiron is
Okay.
like my Venus. I don't know what this is.
I love
And
it.
oh, so I'm really excited to continue following your journey with the lives and all of the learnings because I feel like I'm starting to have more of this partnership with Chiron than I've ever had in the past. And I
Yeah.
feel like it's very important for like my oncoming Saturn, my second Saturn return. So I'm really looking forward to the Adept moon. And watching the replay if I had missed anything that
I
you
didn't do the
shared.
Adept moon yet. We just kind of briefly went over it as this current moon kind of plays into that, because I think if we can sort of we get this month to kind of create things if we want to, and we can create them from a space of fighting for something. We can create it from a space of fighting against something. We can create it from a selfish place. We can create from a place that's all about me, me, me. I mean, either one's right. You just have to know like what's true for you. And I
Okay.
think whichever one you pick, Chiron might make you feel bad for it either way. But where the magic comes in is like just having compassion for yourself,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yes.
if you can just say, I forgive you for being silly, I forgive you for being mean to that person. And just say that to yourself, like it's just a self forgiveness, a compassion, like giving yourself a break. Like, what would you, if somebody came to you and they said, look, I'm so sorry for what I did to you, let me make it up to you, would you have compassion? Would you attempt forgiveness? Like maybe you would, and maybe that relationship with yourself is something that few people explore. But when you do that, that's when you tap into Chiron. Yeah, like I I'm not sorry for being somebody who has an opinion about magical malpractice, because you can do magic wrong, and if you don't know what you're doing it wrong. And I don't feel bad about saying that. I don't feel bad about thinking that. I don't, there's nothing broken in me for feeling that way or believing that, in my opinion. Same with any, you could put any number of beliefs or thoughts or behaviors in there and look at it that way, right?
Yes.
What do you guys think about that?
So cool. Thank you, Dr. Annie.
You guys are quiet tonight. Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful. Go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, I do apologize. I was doing the hashtag modern mom life multitasking while
Hmm.
listening. But I think one of the major things that pop into my awareness, and actually that's the major word, like the transition between this upcoming moon coming on the 18th. It is the because we have been listening to this um, concept over and over and over with Neptune conjunct Saturn about the taking out the blindfold, the dissolution, the breaking down the illusions. And I feel like this upcoming moon, and I'm coming all from feeling is like the opportunity, and it's going to feel very strong because we now are moving forward through this next lunation, opening our eyes, right? We were walking, a lot of us, with those blindfolds created through our own engagement through life, things that we may wanted to see or not. And depending where the lunation now is allowing us to see, where we were blindfolding ourselves. And now that that has been taken off, if we're willing to, because one thing is to take off the blindfold, will you open your eyes? And
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
so choose so throughout this lunation, then you have the mindful awareness. Then on the next one, you work with Chiron freely to then do the healing. So it's more about the opportunity of saying, I can see now, just like Chiron, because Chiron has to accept the fact that the wounding is there to then work with it. So it's like we are about to, now we are in this moment, just like Chiron was when we surrendered to the reality of the wound being there, no matter why it was there. But the other thing that has been on my mind greatly is how Black Moon Lilith is a big part of this story as well. How there's always kind of some type of square tension aspect that is guiding us. Like that part that's being shunned, that maybe is part of that history behind that wounding.
Mhm.
And now, as we see it, as we accept it back, how can we move forward with it? I don't know if any of you saw the Babadook, but it's an older movie from Australia, and it's beautiful about the human psyche, especially as a female, and how to move. All spoilers here, but it's like how to move forward, accepting that there are part of yourself that are wounded that may never be healed or solved, but loving it either way because it's part of you. So we are willing to do this through accepting that in this next lunation, and then the upcoming lunation with Chiron, knowing how to move forward with the wounding, accepting all of our parts. And that's what I think about this transition, which is going to be so difficult, but it's part of the wild ride, isn't it?
Right, absolutely. And we have the tools to do it. And since we know the wave's coming, right? We know this energy's coming. We can be ready. You know, everybody else going to be like not even sure where it is. They're going to say it's some kind of Aries energy, but you're going to be like the little Buddha going, "Oh yeah, I'm good." At least I hope so. At least I hope you're trying to create, because we can certainly move forward on a personal level with our own intuition, like what feels good. I'm sure it doesn't feel good to be lied to when you're watching something. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you can feel that in your body somewhere. And so hopefully you can trust that, because you can turn it off. You have the choice to absolutely say, nah, not today. I'm going to go outside and watch Venus instead. Or I'm going to go listen to my favorite podcaster talk about something esoteric, you know? So that's absolutely what you could do. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Laura. I appreciate that. Great. Let's see. You want to kind of end this kind of on a deep conversation about magical malpractice? Here's what bothers me, you guys. I lie awake at night sometimes wondering how I can different ways that I can say that we probably shouldn't be doing this kind of astrology anymore. Not the death astrology, but tropical astrology, in a way that doesn't make people mad, in a way that shows them that like I've gone the poke you route, I've gone the let me show you your beautiful life route, I've gone, look at all these people and how great they're doing, they're following this, I've gone that route. But then I see this and I'm like, I just feel like I want to give up sometimes, because these degrees are generated from observations on a tropical chart. And just to show you the stunning difference for those of you that maybe are kind of new to the circle, I have a spreadsheet here that shows you how far off it is. In this column here, column number B, or letter B, we have the tropical degrees, the tropical sign. And over here in column D, we have the true sidereal degrees using the midpoints, which is Athens' system and the constellation that it's in. This Julie Sherwood created this and let me have it. So we can thank her for this. She's a very mercurial person, and this was right up her alley. So we are definitely grateful for her contribution. So you can see how off this shit is, right? Like, so here's Aries, and they're saying that Saturn and Neptune are like right here, when we know they're right here. We see it in the sky. We can look up, we can see it. But what they're saying is that this particular point has an energy. It has an impact. And the only one I can come up with is, okay, so it's the crossing of the equatorial plane with the solar system plane that gives us the equinox in the northern hemisphere. Okay. So like it's specific to one hemisphere of a very tiny planet, and we're talking about two giant bodies in the bigger solar system. So I'm asking, like, do they care about 11 degrees of Pisces? I don't know. I don't think they do. And so for that magic, saying, oh, get ready for some fiery hot Saturn and Neptune magic, when we're still doing this. We're still doing this. And this is so lovely. really, Saturn and Neptune in the middle of Pisces is lovely. The higher octaves of this is just pure magic. I have to share with you guys, maybe if we have time, some of the cool, like weird things that are happening to me that are like very magical. So there's that. And then we get to this image where they're giving you these tropical degrees and they're saying, like, for example, Cancer 15, suicide. So does that mean that if you have something like if your son's on 15 degrees of Cancer, you're going to commit, say, hey, my son's on 14 degrees of Cancer, like the real Cancer. Does that mean I'm going to commit suicide? I don't think these degrees translate. So in other words, this 14 degrees or 15 degrees of tropical Cancer is 16 degrees of Gemini. And that's where my Saturn and Venus are. So is this the death point? Or is this the death point? The true sky 15 degrees. I don't know. You see the confusion? And to post something like this and say, okay, well, we should probably talk about death astrology because it's a thing. And they post these things. So what do you guys think? I mean, is this magical malpractice? I think when we're talking about health, when we're talking about death, when we're talking about money, this is absolutely the wrong system to use. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't post it. I wouldn't. I honestly, I wouldn't. Ooh, wee. So,
Right?
it, it. Why even? Why even do this?
Right.
Like,
What are you doing?
yeah. What is it? I always question what is your intention behind your actions?
Mhm.
And I mean, I wouldn't. I will consider it malpractice. I would. If you just want clicks, that's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what this person wanted. And you know what's funny is they probably have a huge following.
oh yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing. That's the thing. Like how do we change the eyeball? How do we change the lens through which they see this?
So, first of all, source from handwritten reference cards. What does that even mean?
What
And second, like it's what is the
yeah.
purpose of
So
it?
to just to give okay, so this is where we have the compassion side of our life, right? So the person who made this is probably a very astute studier, very left-brained, like to categorize things. They've probably done a lot of study on death charts. And you can do that. You can go to people and find out when and what time they died, where they died, and run a chart. And you can compare it with, excuse me, you can compare it with their birth chart. You can make all kinds of connections between planetary alignments, constellational alignments. I've done a few postmortem charts just to see, what was going on the moment of death. Like Charlie Kirk's death was very, very interesting. But in my title, I put metempsychosis because I was wanted to talk about, well, where do souls go when they die? Like, is death really the end? Like, I wanted to, instead of just doing a death chart, like I wanted to contemplate the idea of death in general.
Yeah.
And so I took Judith Hill's death astrology course, and she said the same thing. She says you can't predict anyone's death. There's no way you can do that. You can postmortem find things that are in alignment and that have there's a pattern, and it's not one thing. So for example, if you've got maybe Mars or maybe you have the sun at 22 degrees of Mars, and that's it, and nothing else lines up, that doesn't mean you're going to die through danger. But maybe you've got, this plus an eclipse plus, a square to Pluto, things that will add up. And then you look at the death chart and all that sort of aligns. Like you can find, okay, here's the death signifiers, because they have a list of this in Hellenistic astrology. Here are the death signifiers. So what's the strongest one in this death chart? And then you compile all that data and you can get degrees that might be more likely to pan out. So yeah, so for them, Leo is like the death constellation. These guys, you got anything in Leo, man, death through disaster, drowning, violent, sudden death, partner or death or divorce. So I don't know. And you can look at the comments underneath of this post that this person posted, and there's stuff like, I have this and this and this. I have this and this and this. And these people are just feverishly like putting their stuff in there. And it just amazes me because I don't think they realize that they do have a magical tool that they're working with. So
I find it highly disturbing, to be honest with you, Dr. Danny, because there's not enough information there for people to really go on to understand, like, the concept behind it. I mean, this is almost like going to put fear into people.
exactly.
That's just my feeling. Like, I mean, as a practitioner, I would never ever do anything like this because there's not enough information for somebody to go ahead and look at this and be able to understand the whole concept behind it. Like, I don't know.
So I didn't comment on this person's meme. My battle is not with them. It's with what they're doing. So I didn't want to make it a personal issue. But that I posted it in the fellowship, and I thought I'd bring it up tonight just so you guys can recognize this. It's not just funny, right? Like I do like to mess with these memes and change them and stuff. But when stuff like this comes out, even like jewelry, like there's a pure gold and diamond plated necklace you can buy for $1,200 that has your zodiac sign, because that's how connected people are. They will spend $1,200 to buy a necklace that they think is their something, or even worse, get a tattoo and permanently mark their body with a glyph which has energy. It carries vibrations. It has magic in it. This to me is literally, I can't get away from it. It's literally the oldest and most deeply rooted psyop in our collective psyche right now. And I think I have the receipts to prove it. I really do. But I'm just going to do me over here. We're just going to be the cult of happy astrology and love. And
Well,
that's
it's
where I
interesting
stand.
you bring this up, Dr. Danny, because I think death degrees is it's intriguing. It's interesting because I think in a world where we have so many taboos against talking about death, but the thing is, what's disturbing to me is that it's not connected to the real sky, and I really believe, as you shared, as above, so below, to really be in unison with the cosmos and our solar system. Like, it's nice to really see where the planet is in our living sky. And it makes sense that if we're seeing truly where a planet is, or an asteroid, or a star, that's just amazing because it's happening. It's real. It's not like a projection, and it's not like, maybe I was feeling that maybe people that are holding tropical, maybe they're holding some kind of frequency in the future, and we're like holding the truth now. And where people will see it as an evolution of sorts when they start doing the living sky. But I think to have these death degrees and they're not truly where they are, I think that's erroneous, and it's not beneficial for anyone, especially when we need to start having a more connective relationship with the fact that we're immortal and we will die at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice to know that maybe it would be truly in sync with the sky above us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think no man shall know the hour or the day of his death. And that's kind of the fun part, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't even think we ever really die. I think death is only something that the other person perceives when so when you die, other people perceive you as dying, but you don't really die. You just keep going. It's just a frequency shift for you. And really, it should be pleasurable. It should be awesome. It should be like the last amazing feeling that you have as a physical being. And then you get to like get the download of the why of everything if you couldn't figure it out while you were here. And then you're like, oh shit, I'm going to go back again because I didn't get that. Right. And so that's why we keep coming. You're not trapped here. You did this on purpose. You're here because you wanted to be here, because you wanted to go out at sunset in just an hour and gaze at evening star Venus as she rushes towards Earth in her swelling phase, bringing us creative energy, magnetic energy, just hope. it's love goggles with Venus and Pisces, you guys. Love goggles right here. And guess what we get to do over the next 2-3 months? We get to watch Jupiter and Venus run towards each other. Watch this. It's going to be so cool. I got to hide you guys real quick. Oh, look, there she goes. Let me take out the atmosphere. That, my friends, is going to be such a beautiful sight. I think the next waxing crescent moon, that's when it'll be. There it is, right here. You're going to see Venus, Moon, and Gemini together, right in mid-May, late May, and that's when I think things are going to start like turning around for us in terms of as a collective. I don't see how it couldn't, with these two like snuggled together in Gemini. It's just really, really beautiful energy. Mercury will join them. So keep your eyes to the western sky, guys. It's just going to get more and more beautiful, more and more amazing. And I'm here for it. I'm here to walk it with y'all. All right. Anybody have any thoughts, comments?
Well, just on the death thing, two things.
Yeah.
My mom favorite quote, she was given 6 months to live when I was 10 years old, and she will be 80 this year.
You see?
So she says that you don't have an expiration date stamped on your body. So
No, and in some
you
esoteric
can defy
traditions,
things.
we're supposed to live a long time. We're supposed to live like 150 years or something like that. That's the normal human lifespan.
Right.
And we are out of sync with nature. If we synced back up and really like aligned with the harmony that we're supposed to, we would live longer, we would live healthier, we would have free energy. There wouldn't be all this dark ugliness.
Yeah.
But
And then
maybe that's where we'll go when we actually do change frequencies and die, right?
right. And then as someone who's worked hospice for many years, it's the transition is so beautiful. It is such a sacred honor. Uh, I've really never had a negative crossover experience with the client. It's only been with the family members where there's been, challenges in letting go and dealing with the grief part of the transition. But even in that situation where they knew they were dealing with physical infirmities, it was still really beautiful.
Yeah.
So
It always
if
gets
you,
me too. Like when a patient or a baby passes away, like I can do the business. I can do the business, but as soon as I look in mom's eyes or dad's eyes and they're just heartbroken, oh fuck, it's just
yeah, that's
bad.
the
Like
hard part.
I don't know
Exactly.
why it hurts us so much. It shouldn't hurt us so much, right?
Well, we don't have the physicality of being able to hold them and share experiences in the physical realm with them. And we chose
Yeah.
to feel all those feels
Yeah.
and
I look at
feel them we do.
yeah, I look at my little I look at my little beagle and she just turned 13, and she's still pretty spunky and barks at me, but she's going blind. She can't hear me when I call her. And I'm gonna have to say goodbye to her like in the next, few solar
Yeah.
cycles.
I
And I don't want to
put
do it again. I don't want to do it again.
I put a question in the chat. I just wanted
Oh,
to ask you, Danny,
go ahead.
in just practicality. I have Jupiter retrograde in my natal chart, and Jupiter has just gone direct. And just in a practicality, applying that into our lives, does that affect people differently when they have, the bigger planets, the slower moving planets in retrograde
I
in their
think
natal
so.
chart, and then when they go direct?
I think so. And I think with Jupiter, and I forget which way it goes, but there is a cycle with Jupiter of
Well, it has
gener
like a 12-year
well, no,
cycle.
just a
Oh,
yearly cycle of the
okay.
retrograde, that oscillation between retrograde and direct. It feels to me, the breath of Jupiter feels like generosity and receiving. Like, so it's like
Mhm.
giving, receiving, giving, receiving. And I think if it is when it's aligned with your natal resonance, then I think it's receiving, and when it's the other way, then you're giving, right? You be more generous.
Right.
So for me, I have a Jupiter retrograde, so I've received a lot in the last 4 months, and so now I'm giving.
Getting ready to give.
Right. And that doesn't necessarily mean money. It could just mean love. It could mean knowledge. And I've received a lot of knowledge in the last few months. Guys, this is why I haven't published the Venus frequency yet. I thought I was done back in September or August of last year, but I've gone back to revisit some of this stuff, to reintegrate some of the things that I've just been learning through my own experience, through my own sort of inner work. And it's some things are just wrong. So I'm changing them. I'm fixing, I'm going more deeply.
I've
So
had a
yeah,
similar experience just on some older things that I'd written on. I went back through and edited quite a bit, and I was getting ready to publish some of those things. And it's around English tutoring. It's not esoterical,
yeah,
um, but just in a proficiency and communication for English as a second language.
that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, whenever Mercury goes direct is do you have a Mercury retrograde in your chart?
No, Mercury is actually direct to my
Okay,
chart. I have
cool.
Mercury in Scorpio in my chart.
Okay. Deep investigator.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Yeah, I appreciate the question. Anybody else? All right. Very good. Well, let's see. Let's see if I have anything I want to give you guys a heads up about. A couple of podcasts that I recorded in January and February might be coming out this month. So I'll keep you guys posted as soon as I know about that. I have also officially hired Vishal as one of my Real Sky people, and he's going to take the daily shorts that I do and he's going to put them on all the different social medias. And then he's going to edit my long form lunar videos, the ones with the rising sign. So those are like hours of planning, like 2 hours of recording, and then 3 hours of editing, an hour of uploading, and then time stamping. So it's literally like a 10-hour project for each video. And he's going to reduce 80% of that for me. So that's wonderful. And then he's going to do 22 shorts from the live streams and long form videos. So he's on board. I'm excited. So we're gonna try to grow. It should be pretty exciting this year. I think it's for my astrology, it's time for me to start expanding. And I've been figuring out how to receive that while Jupiter's retrograde. Like how do I open my inner container so that can flow through me, in a way that's aligned with who I am. And so it's interesting because I don't like those nasty comments. They hurt my heart. I'm like, oh, I'm not a cult leader. Uh, I'm not a Zionist. I don't know what that means. So it's funny. All right, guys. Well, we'll stop the recording and then we'll say goodnight. Well, pause recording.